All right. Okay, guys, we're live. So right now it's 8:01 or 8:02. What we're gonna do, guys, we're gonna wait till 8:05 before we officially start with the hangout and everything. Today's just gonna be me and Gerardo, and then from there we'll go ahead and get started. That'll give everybody time to like get in, so then they don't come in and we're already talking about stuff.
Sounds
So
good. Sounds good.
yeah. So if you guys are watching right now on the Hangout page, just comment below. Let us know that you're here, you know? And at 8:05, we'll go ahead and get started. How's your day been, Gerardo?
Oh well, man, it's hot out there. I had to do a little errand across town. That AC, I gotta go get it checked out on my car because I don't know if it's hot or if it's AC, but I was trying to stay cold, pretty cool in there. But I'm back home, freshened up, ready to go, man.
Heck yeah. Looking sharp, bro.
Thanks,
And
brother. Thanks.
yeah. I'm pretty tired myself.
Stayed up late.
Yeah, the
I know. That's
gotta
every,
put in that work. What's up?
that's every day.
Every day.
Stay up late. Same here, man. I have all my sleep all messed up, man.
Mm.
But I mean, I guess that's the perk, right, of being able to make your own hours and everything.
Yeah, for real. The only thing really that regulates my hours is just having my daughter. But other than that,
Right,
I could really sleep whenever I wanted to. My sleep schedule is all jacked up though, because I go to sleep when like most people wake up
right.
for
Same.
like 4 hours,
Feel you.
4 to 6 hours, and then I'll be like, I want to wake up. Like I don't know, I just wake up because I feel like urgent. I don't know what it is. And I just want to work again. All right, we're getting some more viewers here.
7:04. Okay.
Yep, gonna start in 1 minute, guys. And yeah, guys, if you're watching this right now as a recording, basically just skip until we start talking, like a couple minutes into the video, 2-3 minutes into the video. So if you're watching this as a recording, remember, skip to the 3-minute mark on the video. I never said that on all the other ones. I should have been saying that this whole time.
Then we should have said it as soon as we clicked on live.
Yeah. So next time I'm gonna remember to say that, like right when I click live.
Right.
But I'm glad that we've been doing this ever since we started doing these hangouts, our team sales. Like everybody, I've been noticing a lot more people get like different faces getting sales, and also like in the back office. I'm sure you've noticed, but our team sales have been crazy.
Right. Yeah. Definitely, man. The team right now, it's growing like never before. So there's a lot of people who think that MCA is old, or I've had people tell me, "Hey, you're still doing that MCA thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Still?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's growing, it's getting bigger." What do you mean still? It's pretty much, right? Because
Yeah, it's like it's at its best ever so far.
people think that, oh, it's too late to join. Like, the wave has passed. Actually, we remade another wave, and it's bigger than the one that started it in 2014. Back in those days, it's bigger now, so that's good.
Yeah. So all right, guys, it is now 8:05, 7:05, 6:05, whatever time it is where you're at. It's time to get started, guys. So let me go ahead and present myself real quick. All right, guys. So now you can see my screen. I'm about to sneeze. I feel like I'm about to sneeze. All right. Well, anyways, if I sneeze, I'm sorry, guys. But anyways, just basically jumping in. Something I really wanted to talk about lately is like the emotions. About like when you get started, like when you first get started, the emotions associated with it. So like me personally, when I first got started, the emotions I think that I could feel honestly was like, first I was excited, because I want to make money. I think everybody's like a little excited, but more importantly, I was scared. I was scared for my life. Like I was, first of all, most people when you start, you're not going to be 100% sure if it's legit or not. So I was 1% scared of that. I was scared that people were going to judge me. you know, and I was scared that I was going to fail, you know, and I think being scared of failing was like what held me back from even getting started in the first place. You know, the reason why it took me 2 years of knowing about MCA before I actually got started. And I pretty much got started when it was like I had no other choice but to do something, anything. I'll tell you guys my story in a second. But I think it was mainly because I was scared that I was going to fail and waste my time, and it would have all been for nothing, you know? And I'm sure like maybe a lot of you guys can agree with that, you know. Let me know if you agree or not in the comments below. But you know, I was really scared that I was going to fail. So let me tell you guys a little bit about my story and how I got involved in MCA. So when I joined, my daughter was already born, but 2 years prior to when I joined, I had been told about it, but back then, you know, I didn't have a daughter. You know, I was still real young. I was in those days in my life where, you know, I didn't have no responsibilities. I didn't really care that much about stuff. But by the time that I joined, my daughter was 2 months old. You know, the situation I was in. But prior to joining MCA, I was working at a factory. I was making $11 an hour, and it was a temporary job. I mean, I think honestly, every job is temporary, but it was a temp agency kind of job, right? And I thought I had it made. I was making like 500-600 a week. You know, back then that was a lot of money to me. To people these days, that is a lot, you know. But one day, out of the blue, they just laid everybody off. The company decided they wanted to move the factories all to China, because in China, you know, 20 workers over there is like one worker here as far as like cost, you know. So of course it made sense. But to me, you know, for a person like me, what that means to me is now I have to find a new job. I have a new daughter, you know, I'm still living at my mom's house. I drive a 2002 Nissan Sentra. So for me, it was like really hard, you know, and I had a really good resume. I was a good worker there. I was very well respected, even all the way up to the general manager and head of sales in the entire company. So I had recommendations on my resume, and even then, like, it was so hard to find a job, guys. And that's when another ad about MCA popped up. And even though I was scared of failing, you know, I gave it a shot. It was my last $40, my last paycheck that I got, and I decided to get started. And, you know, I was even scared to fail even then, even though I had no other choice but to try to make this work while I looked for a job. Okay. Now, I might have got a little off subject, but basically what I'm trying to say is I was scared to fail, even though I had no choice but to succeed. And I think I didn't really start succeeding until like I realized something, that I'm going to fail anyways. You know, you're going to fail anyways. Like, regardless if you become successful or not, that's like with anything. Before you could succeed, you have to feel failure. And you're probably thinking, oh, I felt failure my whole life. You know, I've been broke my whole life. You know, I deserve to succeed. But that's not, like, I'll clarify in a second. But that's not the point that I'm getting at, okay? You know, at first when you join MCA, it's going to be, you're going to feel failures on top of failures. There's going to be different levels of failures. And what it is, it's not telling you that MCA doesn't work. It's telling you that it's basically teaching you a lesson, you know, and it's up to you to decide if you want to let that make you quit, or if you want to push past these failures and learn from it and then eventually become successful. Because success, it's like a constant journey. You know, you're either journeying towards success, you know, where you're reaching all these setbacks, or a learning curve. You have to learn something, get out of your comfort zone. Or if you reach success, now the struggle is maintaining that success, you know, staying successful. So for most people, they're struggling to reach success. But for me, I actually took off an MCA pretty quick. And what made it hard on me, you know, what made me want to quit when I first started was the failures. You know, I remember on a previous hangout, I told you guys my first full week in MCA, I got 13 sales, and that's a true story. But a few weeks in, I reached a point where I was promoting on Facebook, like I was spamming, right? And then Facebook closed my account, and I didn't know what to do. And this is actually a real life story. I told Gerardo, I hit him up. I was like, bro, I don't know what to do. My Facebook got closed. How am I going to make sales? you know, this is my Facebook that I'm using to get sales and everything. And he's like, basically word for word, he told me, you know, that it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle, and it's up to you to, I don't know if it's word for word, but basically what he was saying is it's up to you to show that you deserve it, that you deserve to be successful, you know, and it's a test. You have to pass the test. And basically what he's saying is like, you know, yeah, you know, bad things can happen. That's with anybody, regardless of what kind of life you live, but it's up to you and your character to push through that. Okay. So basically what I'm telling you guys is, you know, whether you've experienced it yet or not, but failure is imminent, but you're going to experience it. But if you push through it, I guarantee you there is always light at the end of that tunnel. You know, if there's a storm, there's always going to be light at the end of it. You just have to be persistent and stick through it and deserve it. And that's something we're going to be talking about a lot today, about deserving it. And yeah, I don't want to be talking too much, but I think this is like the perfect opportunity to pass it to you, Gerardo, because I think that's something you wanted to talk about, actually. So let me switch to your screen. All right, you got the floor, bro.
Let's see. Okay, mic is on. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Gerardo Ibarra. In case you don't know, I've been in MCA for around 4 years now. Me and CJ, along with Javier, who's not on this call today, started this group a few years ago. So I just wanted to introduce myself in case this is your first time tuning in. But you know, just gonna go ahead and say some words on what CJ was telling you, because that's very powerful, guys. And you know, this hangout is going to be more about mindset, and at the end, we're also going to touch bases and give you some technical training where we're actually going to, you know, explain how is it that we make sales and how is it that you can also make $1,000 a week, $1,000 every week, right? So my German Shepherd is barking outside, so if you hear him, excuse me for that. But so let's get into it, guys. So listen, guys. You know, you're new into this business, and you know, most of the time you're gonna feel lost, okay? And not only that, but you know, you're gonna feel like, you know, how can I put it into words? Because I'm just, you know, I'm talking out of what comes to mind. But you know, when you're new, guys, and I'm gonna start by explaining how I felt when I started. So like CJ, you know, as well, I was excited. And you know, I was excited to get going. Why? Because I saw the YouTube videos. I saw people earning, you know, $2,000 a week, or back then they used to send out checks, like real checks. So they were getting them in the mail. They would open the package and they would show you the check, and it was exciting. But this was my experience. So when I signed up, and I still remember this clearly, as soon as I hit the buy button, I was like, boom, like a big relief. I was like, okay, I'm in. And then I was like, okay, so what's next? And then my sponsor back then, he was fairly new as well. And then he pretty much just told me, okay, here's your username, here's your link, your website. You can start now. And you know, back then I was completely new. I've never done anything like this before. And I was like, okay, how do I start? Like, what do I do? Like, even though it's common sense, even though he can just tell me, you got to promote, you got to share your link with others, you got to advertise. You know, those are 1 or 2 sentences. That's it. There's no details. There's no, you know, more, there's no, back then there wasn't any videos. There wasn't a step-by-step explanation. It was just like, you have your link, go out there now. And I'm stuck there, and I remember that I felt sad. Like, I felt that I had wasted money. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but I felt like that, like, for 2 or 3 days. I was bummed out because back then $40 meant a lot to me. You know, $40 meant a whole lot. So when that happened, I felt bummed out. I felt like I just wasted $40. I remember I went to bed, I laid down, and I was like, damn, I messed up. And you know, that's just being new. Right, guys? So if you feel that way, or if you feel like this is hard, then I got news for you. You know, business, any type of business is hard. You know, real business, you know, business is not pretty. It's not pretty. It's very ugly. It's very competitive. You know, everybody's trying to take out everybody. That's how business is. Everybody wants to provide what you provide for a cheaper price. Everybody wants to take your customers. Everybody wants to take you out of business. You know, don't you think that Starbucks, you don't think there's a company that wants to take out Starbucks, somebody that wants to make better coffee? It's competing. Every day people are competing for prices, for better value, right? So let's get into the topic, what I was going to actually talk about. And it's something that I learned from Ty Lopez. If you guys are on the internet a lot, if you follow Ty Lopez, you may be familiar with this information if you bought his course, his 67 steps course. But I'm going to just share a few golden nuggets that I learned from there with you guys tonight. So that way, you have that information with you and you can start applying it as well. So basically, one of the principles is to get what you want, you have to deserve it. Like, you truly have to deserve what you want. There's a lot of people in this world who think they deserve everything. They think they deserve to be wealthy. They think they work hard. They think that they just because they did a certain thing that they automatically deserve something, right? And that's not true. The beautiful thing about this planet, guys, is that this world is fair, right? Your dollar right now that's in your wallet is worth the same as mine, okay? If you go to the gym and you lift more weights than me, you're gonna get stronger. This world is not a world where you go to the gym, you get fit while I stay at home. In other words, I'm sorry, if you go to the gym and you start, getting out of shape, you start gaining weight, and while I'm sitting at home, I'm getting, muscles just by staying at home. See, that's not how the world works. The world is fair. Everything is fair. It's just, you just have to decide, if you're willing to work for it. Do you deserve what you want? Do you want to make $1 million? What you're what you're doing right now, do you think it's worth $1 million? Do you think that your job, excuse me, guys, do you think that your job right now, what you're doing at your current job, do you think it's worth $1 million? Your specific work, whatever your task is, whatever duties you have to do, is it worth $1 million? Yes, no, right? You have to do more if you want to be more. You simply have to do more. If you want above average results, you have to do above average duties, tasks. You have to do what the ordinary person won't do. And that's the formula. You have to become more. You have to be more valuable. And if you want to ask me, Gerardo, well, how can I become more valuable? Raise your awareness. You have to be aware of everything that's going on, guys. And I'm talking about, in this specific business. You can apply this to any part of your life. But right now we're talking about MCA. So you have to be aware of what everything. You have to be aware of who's making the most sales. You have to be aware of what the leaders are doing. Success leaves prints. There's certain things that people, sometimes people want to hide secrets. They want to hide special techniques that work that they don't want to share with the world. They want to keep it to themselves. But I'll tell you something, we're not like that. We have courses, that we literally explain everything to you step by step. But what I want to tell you, the point was that success leaves clues. There's certain things that those people can't hide, right? So all you have to do is you have to be aware. And, I'll give you an example that Ty Lopez, gave in his course. He says, look down on your keyboard right now. What does F5 do? What does F6 do? What does this control tab do? Or the command, I'm looking at my Mac. What does the command do? You have to know everything about your business and your tools. If you're using a laptop, you have to know every single key. What's the purpose of every single key? So you have to raise your level of awareness. You have to know what's going on. You have to know Facebook marketing. You have to, research. You have to keep going and just be aware of everything. And that's how you become more valuable. That's how you will be worth more. And eventually you'll get what you want when you deserve it, right? Because like I said, this world is fair. Your dollar is worth the same as mine. If you do a push-up, if I do a push-up, it'll be the same. You know, there's no way in hell that if I do 50 push-ups and you do 200, that I'm gonna get stronger than you. It's not gonna work, because this world's fair. Whatever you put in, that's what you get out. All right, guys. So moving on to the next topic, you have to be able to adapt. CJ was saying you have to be adaptable, and I'll give you an example, guys. Back in 2014, when I started MCA, there was a specific technique that everybody was doing to get sales back in the day in 2014. So everybody was making money, tons of people. Now there's more people making money now than back then, but it was pretty big. But one day, just a day out of the blue, we wake up, and guess what? Facebook did some updates. They changed up their settings, and in simple words, that strategy didn't work anymore. So from one day to another, that strategy was wiped out. And a lot of people, guess what happened? It's sad, because a lot of people were winning. I'm talking about a lot of people were making thousands of dollars. And a lot of those same people, they got wiped out with it. And it hurts, because some of those people back then were my best friends, because we used to talk every day. We used to chat every day. We used to share strategies every day. But what happened? They didn't adapt. You have to be able to adapt to any circumstance. You have to. If you cannot adapt, you'll die in the whatever process that was working. If the process, a specific technique dies, then you die with it. Again, guys, you have to be able to adapt, and I want for you to apply this with business, guys. Some strategies will work for some time, and then they'll run out. Things will change. The road can change tomorrow. Another good example that Ty Lopez gave is, there was this hotel back in the day, and this hotel was, right next to the highway, so it had a lot of customers. People will get off the highway, they will go to the hotel, they'll stay. The hotel was growing and they were making tons of money, but guess what? They changed the route. The freeway, they changed the way that the freeway goes. So guess what happened? The customer died. I mean, the hotel went out of business. Right? The hotel went out of business. Why? Because the road changed. And the same can happen with business, guys. So you have to be able to adapt. When it comes to MCA, guys, you have to be able to adapt and test. Test. If you were on the Hangout last week, I told you guys that you have to be willing to look like a fool. You have to be willing to go out there and test and make the mistakes, because nobody starts like an expert. Nobody starts off with expertise. Nobody starts off, being a pro at this. So, if you're new, I just wanted to touch that really, really fast. If this is your first time on a Hangout, I want for you to go out there and look like a fool. Make a fool out of yourself. I'm not meaning, what I'm trying to get to, what I'm trying to get to is go out there and make mistakes. Don't be afraid of what your friends are gonna think. Don't be afraid to make a post that you may think is not good enough, because when you start, you don't know what to post. When you start, you don't have, you don't know, sometimes you may not have proper grammar, and with time, you're gonna get all that. You're gonna get all that, guys. So I just wanted to touch base with that as well. Go out there, guys, make mistakes. I'm gonna give it back to CJ, and then we'll get into another topic right after. Hey, CJ, I can't hear you, brother. There we go.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was on mute. Hey,
Good.
you made some really good points, bro. And it actually gave me a few ideas of what I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So a few things about like deserving. It puts me into a thought like, okay, so there's a tactic, there's like a way of thinking. It's called perspective. Okay. And you could use the skill of perspective to close sales, be successful at anything, persuade anybody, so what I mean by perspective is, a lot of times people just don't understand you know? So Gerardo was talking about you have to deserve it. You know, oftentimes on the internet, you know, there's a lot of critics, right? They always talk about CEOs or people that have money like they're selfish or like they just got all that money for no reason or, you know, like they're just lucky. Okay. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. A long time ago, I used to think like that too, but it was only because everybody else thought like that. And just to put this into perspective for you guys, you know, those CEOs and all those people who are successful and everything, it's not really all fully out of luck. Like, sure, they might have had some luck on their side, but it's because they deserved it. You know, you really think that that CEO just woke up one day and he just became a CEO out of nowhere? He had to work his way up. He or she had to work their way up. They had to go to school or something. You know, they might have even started up at the bottom of the company. I remember I was in McDonald's, and this is before I even realized that, but I'm just thinking back. I was in McDonald's standing in the line, and they had like a paper thingy on the counter, like right in front of the register, you know, talking about having a career at McDonald's. And it was about a lady who started out working there, and now she's like an executive director or or she might even be the CEO now. I can't remember, but it was like a little story about her and about why you should have a career at McDonald's and how they care and stuff, you know, whatever. But it was like a PR thing, but it's a good story because, you know, she had to work really hard to move her way up, especially at like a McDonald's. You know, I used to work at a similar place called Checkers, and I was making $7.25 an hour. So she started all the way down from there to get to, you know, in the corporate ladder, let alone be a CEO. That means that she deserved it. You know, she had to work extremely hard, you know, learn a lot of different skills, get out of her comfort zone, and make some sacrifices to get to that level. You know, LeBron James, for example, yeah, sure, one can say that he was gifted being 6'8", 275 pounds or whatever he is, and, you know, oh, it's because he's big and black, that's why he's so good at basketball. But there's a lot of big black people who are athletic. You know, LeBron James, he spends over $1 million on fitness to get in the kind of shape that he's in. That's why he's one of the greatest athletes in the world, as much as I hate him because he's so competitive. But it's a good point. That dude works harder than most people do. You know, he deserves it. I could talk about basketball all day and tie it into this, but what I'm trying to say, guys, is, you know, if you see a top earner in MCA and they're like, oh, they're making money because they're at the top. At the top of what? Do you see us climbing anything? We're just working harder, guys. That's all you have to do. You can make more money than the person you started under. You can make more money than us if you work harder. You know, just into my experience, the guy that I joined under, he was a decent member when he first got started, but, you know, I just started working harder than him. And I even told him I made it a competition. We actually used to have competitions back then where we would post the team sales, and I used to fight to be at the top of that. I used to compete with Gerardo every day and I used to think like, oh, he's lucky. He gets all these sales because he has a following and he has proof and all this. But then every time I'd hit him up to be like, oh, how much sales you got, bro? He'll reply in like 5 minutes, whether it's 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. So it's like, you know, my opinion changed because it's like, okay, that's why he's getting all these sales, because he's up while everybody else is asleep. Nobody else write me back, but he's writing me back instantly. You know, so he's up right now. You know, so that caused me to change my perspective. And I was like, okay, I need to deserve it. If I want to be making money like the people at the top, I need to deserve it. So I started outworking my sponsor, and, you know, within a few weeks, now I'm making more sales than him. You know, so you can start making more money than the people above you, if you want to call it above, guys. And this is with anything in the world. That's why the world really is fair. You know, there's people, I know you've heard of tons of stories. You might think it's just like stories people make up on the internet about people being poor and now they're, you know, from homeless to being rich and everything. But those are real stories, guys. Like, I used to not believe in this stuff too, but honestly, my whole journey with MCA has really made me a believer. And something that I wanted to get into, because I wanted to talk a lot about mindset, but you gotta tie your mindset and how you think into your work ethic and how you go about your work, guys. So, you know, with that perspective, what I mean is like if you have a lot of people who are like on the fence or they don't believe in MCA, maybe they're old fashioned, they think that, you know, well, I actually work hard for my money. This is hard work too, guys. This is mental work. They just have to be put into perspective. So maybe they don't think that it's real because you're making money online. You know, they got to get with the times. It's 2017. You know, so what I'm saying is maybe take a different approach. And this goes with what Gerardo was talking about, adaptability. You know, if whatever you're doing right now isn't working, basically if you're getting leads but you're not closing sales right now, something's not working. Maybe you need to like start taking data, meaning you need to start studying people who it is actually working for and start doing similar things to them, but like tying it into your personality still, you know? And I think another thing that's really important, and this is, we're gonna basically transition into talking about the technical things now. Two things really important to me, honestly, is following up and staying organized. You know, there used to be a time when I used to talk to hundreds of leads a week or even a day. I would get 500 leads in one day and I would only get a few sales. And it's because I'll talk to them one time about MCA. I'll show them the opportunity once and then never talk to them again. Versus if I would have had a few points of contact with them, they might have come around or it might have reminded them to get started with MCA, you know? So I think that's why being organized and following up is extremely important. And what I mean by this is whether you're following up manually or, you know, if you have a system do it for you like we do. When I used to follow up manually, guys, what I mean is like every person who didn't reply to me within like 2 days, I'm replying to them saying, I guess you weren't serious. You know, I just straight up say that. And a lot of people get mad or they'll give me a reason why, or they'll say their grandma died or whatever. But the point is I'm getting in contact with them again. Okay. I'm following up with them. The people who say they're going to, I'll join when I get paid. I'm asking them, okay, when do you get paid? If you don't mind me asking. And when they say when, I write their name down on a notebook. I have a notebook, right? I still have it. It's somewhere in my closet. I don't use it anymore because I have a system now. But I would write their name down in the day that they said they're gonna join, and then I'm following up with them. I'm following up with these people. It got to the point where I'm filling up multiple notebooks full of names and days, or even if I got their phone number. You know, I'm trying to follow up with these people. I'm making conversation with them. You know, because most people are not going to sign up the very first time they see the opportunity. Like, think of yourself. Did you sign up the very first time that you saw MCA? Let's be real. It took me 2 years to join MCA. And it's not going to take everybody 2 years, obviously, but it's going to take people time. And that's why you got to be consistent. You have to follow up. And if you're organized with it, it's a lot easier to get a lot more work done in less time. Like, the way that I'm organized now, guys, I can do what it used to take me 4 hours to do. I could do it in like 30 minutes because I'm organized. And I think a lot of people that are successful, you'll see that they're pretty organized. And it's not that I'm like an organized person. It's just a trait that I had to adapt to stay successful, you know, because there was a period of time that I did fall off. You know, when Gerardo was talking about there's a method that got taken away and people were wiped out, I was temporarily wiped out from it because, you know, I had to adapt and I didn't deserve it at the time. You know, I got lazy because I got used to the success and everything. But before I get off topic, I wanted to basically tell you guys about what we use to stay organized and, you know, to follow up with people. I think maybe Gerardo would be the best to like open up for this, and then I'll just go off of whatever you want to say, bro, if that's cool.
Talking about following up?
Yeah. And then basically tell them about what we're doing today to get our sales and to stay organized and to follow up and everything. I don't want to talk too much, so I figure I'll pass it off to you, and then we'll just both talk about our own perspective on that.
Listen, guys, if you're on this hangout right now, it shows me that you're serious. It shows me that you really want success. It shows me that, you know, you're all in. So, I appreciate that you guys, if you're still on this hangout, I appreciate you, you taking time out of your day to, come here and learn, because, the reality, guys, is we do this for you. I mean, if we wanted to, we don't have to do this. The team is growing crazy, but, we really care about our team. We want for you to win. We want for you to be successful with this. So right now, what we're doing is just simply dropping, knowledge that we learned throughout the years. We didn't learn this in a day, guys. We learned this in 4 or 5 years. So that's why it's important for you to get on these calls every Monday. It's always going to be something new, right? So, but just to follow up with what CJ was saying, and then I'll add some extra stuff right after. When you follow up, guys, you have to do it in a specific in a period of time that's not too fast. In other words, don't send out your website, and then 2 hours later you're like, hey, did you watch the video? Or hey, did you what do you think? Because then you come off as desperate. They start to think that, hey, this guy, why is he worried about me so much? Or why is he trying to sign me up so badly? You give them a sense that you're desperate, that you're in need. You see, something that we could probably leave for the next hangout, but I'm just gonna touch on it a little bit, is you gotta be a figure of authority. What I mean by that is that you have to be a boss, and your posture has to be like a boss, like a true boss. Bosses don't go and say, hey, did you check out my information? Get back to me every hour or two. They actually just say, okay, hey, you want to learn? Here's the info.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If it's up to you to sign up, they're not going to chase you. They're not going to go and say, hey, what do you think? It's actually the other way around. You go back to them and you say, hey, so I checked out the information. Right. So that's the type of posture that you want to be. Of course, if you're starting, that may be tough. That takes time. But that's why I'm saying that, we'll leave that for a whole different topic. But the point here is that you want to follow up around 2 to 3 days after you sent out your link. So if today's Monday, if somebody says, hey, info, send out your website by Wednesday or Thursday, hit them up one last time and you can say something, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. There's not a secret sauce. It's just, you have to follow up. You can say, hey, I guess you weren't serious, ? Like how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit aggressive. A lot of people would think that it's, a lot of people will get offended and say, man, this guy is respectful. He's telling me that I'm not serious. But, you'll be surprised that you'll get the people who don't care, they'll leave you on scene. And the people who do care will come up with their excuse, whatever it may be. Hey, my dog died, or hey, I haven't had time, I've been working, blah, blah. They'll come up with the silliest answers. But hey, guess what? They're interested. You'll know that, hey, this lead is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
I can still make a sale off this customer because he's giving me a reason. And you just gotta, go with the flow. Oh, okay, I understand. Well, I mean, just try to check it out. Get back to me. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. There's not a script. There's not sometimes that, that something that we are keeping away from you. It's just a matter of you being a person and talking to another person and closing the sale. But the time would be 2 to 3 days after. All right. Follow up once. You can do twice. I don't do twice because I just don't have the time. If you do have the time because you don't have enough leads yet, do a second follow-up, right? And that's it, right? So a little bit more of the actual technical training. Let's get into the good stuff because, you are here to learn how to make more money, right? You are here because you want to learn how to grow your business, right? So I'm just going to go over very quickly the most common mistakes and the reason why people quit. Okay, I want to tell you the reasons why people quit this business so you can be fully aware and you can know how to fix that problem and this doesn't happen to you. All right, so, I'm just going to go off the top of my head. Think of the most common things. CJ, if you want to add something while I'm talking, feel free. So, number one, people quit, obviously, or they decide to cancel because they're not making any money. So if they're not making any money, it's why? It's because they don't have enough customers. They're not making sales. So the reason why they're not making sales or having customers is because they're not promoting advertising. They're not doing a type of advertising that is getting people to come to them. They're not doing advertising are doing enough advertising so they can have enough people to talk to or receive enough messages, right? It's simple, guys. You see, you obviously, if you start making money with this company, you're never gonna leave, right? Who would leave if you're making a few thousand a week? Nobody. So you see, I want for you to understand the most, simplest problems. People quit because they're not making money and they don't have enough messages, which we have a solution for that. We receive hundreds of messages, hundreds, to the point where we can't keep up, to the point where we have an autoresponder that's answering the messages for us automatically because we can't keep up. That's a good problem to have. Wouldn't you like to have that problem? People want to complain. Last time I found myself complaining, too many messages. I was mad. And I was like, why? And I said, Gerardo, wait a minute. Why are you mad, bro? You have messages. That's what people want. So be happy. Just relax more. So, it's a good problem to have. So, right now we're in a bit, we're going to talk to you about how to get messages. So stick around. Another common mistake is people, they want to say, well, it's either family or friends, but they put you down because of what you're doing. They tell you that it's a scam, and they'll tell it to your face even more when you quit. See, that's why you can't give up. You can't quit, because when you quit, they're gonna tell you, I told you it was a scam. But the real reason why you quit, it wasn't because it was a scam, because the product is real. The service is real. The membership card, it's real. The benefits are real. The only problem was that you couldn't get customers.
Mm-hmm.
So people will tell you it's a scam. It will come from family. It will come from your friends. And you'll feel bad. I had a friend recently who told me, this guy, a real friend in life, from school. He told me, honestly, I think your business is a scam. And he told me to me in front, and I was like, well, and then we had a little talk about it. It wasn't a discussion or nothing. I mean, we're still friends. It's just like, okay, cool. I mean, why? He saw, and then he said it was like one of those pyramids. I was just like, I'm like, okay. And then I was like, should I try to explain to him? Like, nah. And I was like, yeah, well, I told him drop the pyramids too, because there's someone at the top making all the money, while the workers at the bottom, they don't make nothing. So it's the same thing. I told him, I just got to choose what kind of pyramid you want to be a part of. And then he was like, and then we kind of just went on, and we were together out. We were watching a DJ. So we just kept going on. We didn't talk about it anymore. But you see what I'm telling you? Like, some people will view this as a scam, and you have to be okay with that. That can't be. You have to decide what you want. Do you want to be successful in business, or do you care more about what someone thinks, specifically, like if they're gonna pay your bills? Right. So it's just a decision you got to make. So those are the most common mistakes, people have. They quit because somebody tells them it's a scam. They quit because they can't make sales. Right. Something you want to add, CJ? Your mic is off, brother. Hey, CJ, your mic.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to add to that because that's a good topic. Yeah, guys. Probably the main people saying stuff to you is gonna be friends and family. When I first started, a lot of people were in my ear saying that kind of things. And, at first, before I did anything at all, I almost wanted to believe them and go hit the cancel button, but then, I thank God I stuck with it. But, once you stick with it and you actually do start seeing results, guys, those same people, whether they're friends or family or strangers, they're going to end up coming back anyways. Most of those people are going to come back and they're going to be like, oh, so it is real. They're going to change up their whole approach. They're going to like, I can't even tell you how many times, if I go to the store, if I go to the gym to play basketball, like the same people who are on my posts talking crap, calling it a scam or whatever, back then I'd just block them on Facebook because I didn't want to hear it, because I already knew it's not a scam. But I'm not on a mission to prove to the whole world that this is not a scam. Like, and I think that's the point that he's trying to make. Like, you don't have to be on a mission to prove to everybody and your family and friends and everybody that this is real, because it is real to us. So basically, we got to focus on our business. And now all those same people that I see, whether I blocked them, if they see me now, they're trying to be all friendly. They're coming at me like how a person does when they go to a job interview. They're saying sir to me and stuff. Shaking my hand, treat me with respect, and it's just crazy how their approach changes after they see that it is real. You know, don't think that there's anything wrong with those people. They're on the outside looking in. You know, if it before I thought this was a scam too until I got into it. You know, they just don't know what it's all about, and you know, their perspective will change. But yeah, my bad. That's all I wanted to add in.
That's okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, CJ, because when I go to the bank and I use the ATM card, like money comes out. Like the money is real, right? But all right, guys. So I mean, we'll leave it at there for this hangout. We're just gonna quickly explain to you exactly how we make the sales. So CJ, if you want to open up you want to share your screen and show the MCA Pro Tool system that we use.
Yeah, definitely. Let me make it to where my screen's presenting. All right, guys. So, you know, whether you can't get leads or if you do get leads, but like it seems like nobody's signing up, we have an answer for that. Okay, because you know that's been the number two problems with MCA, like people getting sales. They either don't have enough leads or they can't close the leads. So solution is MCA Pro Tools.
Just very quickly, guys. So here, you know, we're gonna be explaining how we make the sales. So if this is your first time, you know, you're gonna learn today, like Kevin Hart says.
You're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today. But okay, so you know, very very quickly, before we even touch this, your profile, guys. Let's you know, come on, let's be aware. All right, let's be aware. Your profile, either your Facebook or your content that you're posting on Snapchat or Instagram. Visit my page and visit CJ's, visit Javier's page, and just look at what we're posting and look at what, you know, compare it to yours, and then just try to just try to kind of, I don't want to say copy, but try to just go based off what we do. Like don't be, you know, I don't have to tell you this, guys. Don't be posting memes and funny videos and reposting and sharing stuff that's, you know, not business related. You know, I don't want to get too deep into that because that's a whole nother conversation. But come on, let's be aware and let's have a good presentation. Let's not, you know, let's just be good professionals. Let's not be corny. Let's not, just try to be the best we can. Like I said, go out there, look like a fool, make the mistakes. With time, you're gonna learn and you're gonna get better at, you know, presenting, at lifestyle pictures. You're gonna get better at taking photos. You're gonna get better at talking. You're gonna get better at posting statuses and being creative and talking, you know, your mind. You're gonna get good, but just stick with it. Okay, stick with it. So now that you know that, let's get to the technical stuff. So what we use is we're using a website that's, you know, it's the name of the system is MCA Pro Tools. So this website, what it does is it does the selling and following up for you, right, via email. So it's very simple. How it works is you get a link. Okay, it's gonna be your own personal link. When people go to that link, they're gonna go to a website that's gonna ask them to enter their email. Okay, their email address. So CJ is gonna show it to you now. So once they enter their email, and they're gonna click on Get Instant Access, and then it's gonna take them to another page where it's gonna show a presentation. Okay, so this video presentation was put together by me, CJ, and Javier, where we basically do the selling for you. We show testimonials, right? We show some lifestyle, and we have the MCA presentation where we explain what is MCA, how does it work, what are the benefits, how do you get paid, right? So this is a tool that obviously, you know, if you're an online entrepreneur, you need it. Without your website or your checkout page, you're gonna make no money. You need to have a link where people are gonna go to purchase the MCA membership so you can get your commission, right? So right now, CJ is giving you a preview of the actual video presentation that you're gonna have access to. You can get access to, and like I said, it comes with testimonials. We even show them how to sign up. At the very end, we have them step by step. We show them how to enter their card information. You see, a lot of people are not, you know, they still need that step by step help, and we give it to them, right? So once they click on yes, sign me up, it's gonna be your checkout link. It's not gonna be ours. It's gonna be yours, where it's gonna have your picture, it's gonna have your name, and they'll be able to purchase it. Now, this is the good thing about it. If they don't buy, if they don't sign up, or they just say they click out, guess what? We have their email. You have their email on your list. Okay, we don't have it. You will. You'll have their email. So therefore, I don't know what happened. Hopefully you can still see me. I think CJ was disconnected.
Okay, I don't know what happened, guys, but the internet cut out. Let me just go back to my screen. All right. So, yeah, I don't know what happened. It was like a technical error. But anyways, guys, so with this page, what you get, they capture the email, and then it goes on to the next page that has a video presentation. Now, this video presentation is especially good for those members who just started. You know, hold on, let me refresh the page. This is especially good for the people who just started, or you don't have any proof yet. You know, let me just skip around the video. We have testimonials in here where we show our own proof, our own lifestyle and everything. And hold on, he said disconnected. Let me get Gerardo back on board. I'll just tell him to come back. But anyways, guys, like, we explain MCA for you. We're doing the selling for you. You know, why not let someone who's already making tons of sales in MCA, let 3 people for that matter, you know, why not let us close the sale for you? We already have over 20 pre-written emails that we provide you with to send to these members. Remember when I was telling you about following up? Hold on one second, come back on. All right, yeah, Gerardo just messaged me. He thought that the Hangout disconnected. But like I said, we have 20 emails. I'll even show you them. Hey, you'll have your own email account. We're not gonna have access to any of this information. This is just a account that I made for the training videos that we made on it. But we have emails that are pre-written, and you'll learn how to set them up to your links, to where when they click to sign up, they're signing up under you. You know, and these emails are sent out every few days or so. And basically, it's going to close the sales for you. So then at that point, all you have to do is just get more leads, you know? So let me, hey, Gerardo, so you're back?
Yeah. I thought you disconnected, but it was me, huh?
No, we both disconnected. It was weird.
Oh, okay. But we're still on, right? It's live?
Yeah. I was just basically talking to them about Pro Tools.
Okay.
And I was showing them the emails. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
so
I was showing them the emails and everything.
Where I left off, when I said, you know, you collect their emails. So, you know, what happens now is that we follow up with your prospects. We have emails already that are written, and they have, you know, scripts, right? And then we convince, you know, we try to convince your customers to sign up, and it's done automatically. You don't have to lift the finger. They're sent out in specific times. For example, the first one is sent out immediately. The next one is after a day. So it's exactly a day from when they enter their email. So if someone right now at 8:55 enters their email, tomorrow at 8:55, they're gonna receive that email that says just wanted to thank you. And you know, every email comes with the script. It's gonna, at the bottom, when they click on join or sign up, it will take them to your website. You'll get the sale. You'll get the credit, right? So that's the MCA Pro Tools. If you want to explain to them about the pricing, CJ, really quick.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. So MCA Pro Tools, I go ahead and went to the page that you guys are on. You guys are viewing it on this page right now, okay? So at the bottom, you'll see a red button and a blue button. Now, these are 2 different products. You don't have to get both of them. But the red button is what we're talking about right now, MCA Pro Tools, okay? It's only $19.95 a month. You know, just like MCA, you're not paying $40 at the beginning. You're paying only $19.95, or it might be 97. I can't remember. But basically, it's $20 a month, guys. You know, it's not a lot of money. Oh, I'm already logged in, so it didn't take me to the checkout page. But when you click on this red button, it's going to take you to checkout. It's only $19 and basically $20 a month, guys. And you're gonna get access to everything we teach in there, as well as be a part of our Facebook community. We have a different Facebook group for the members of this where we're actually very active in. We answer a lot of questions, and ultimately the mission is to help everybody get sales. We wish we could provide something like this for free, but we actually invested a lot of money in this, and we're not hoping to make profits off of this. We're just hoping to get more team sales. We're hoping to see more success in MCA. If we break even on this, that's cool. Because at the end of the day, MCA is the business we're trying to build. And, we make more money when the team is winning. Honestly, guys, I'm gonna be real with you guys. That's how the compensation plan works. When your team is making sales, you get compensated for it. And that's their incentive to basically help you, to encourage you to help your people. Now, you might have remembered Gerardo saying earlier about how we get so many leads that we can't even answer the messages. We have to have an autoresponder. There's a way that we're using paid advertising to bring in those kind of leads, and we teach that here in the six-figure formula. Maybe it takes you to the checkout. So this is a one-time price of $297. I know that might seem like a lot. It might scare you. I understand. You don't have to get that today, guys. That's for the advanced people who are getting a few sales a week and they really want to take it to the next level. Okay.
Or
so
actually, actually, guys, if you want to go to the next level, do it today. If you have the money,
straight up. If you have the money, do it.
Well, I want to tell you that I don't know. I don't have an exact number, but just testing and perfecting this strategy for you was easily at least 10 grand.
Yeah,
10 grand that I spent out of my own pocket in probably like maybe 6 months, but trying to perfect it until I got it down. In 6 months, I spent $10,000 in advertising, paying for advertising, seeing what works the best, whether it's this way or that way, or what gets me more leads. Based on just little things that were changing. So it was a bunch of testing. We don't mind because now we found what works, and I don't mind that I spent 10 grand because now make double, right? So I do want to tell you this, guys, before we end it. If you want to know an answer, if you're still watching, first of all, again, congrats. It shows me that you're serious. It shows me that you want success. But what I'm gonna say right now is basically there's no easy way when it comes to making sales when you first start. There's no way, or there's no strategy that I can tell you, hey, look, just follow this, go here, and you're gonna become successful in this business. When you first start, because you're gonna have to put yourself out there, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook. Your first sales are gonna be tough. That's normal. I mean, it was tough for me. It was tough. I'm sure it was tough for CJ. It was tough
definitely
for Javier. It's tough for everyone, right? So there's like, if you want to hear, like, if you're saying, well, they're not telling us everything, there's something missing, guys. There's really what we explained to you right now about the six-figure formula. That's what we do. That's our formula, right? But if you want to know how can I make more sales, because at the end of the day, that's why people quit, because they can't make no sales. It's by going out there and deserving it. It's by going out there and putting in the work and advertise your butt off and not care about what your friends are gonna say, not care about what your Snapchat followers are gonna think of you if they see you post an MCA card, or they're gonna say, hey, look, that person, he's doing that business where you gotta pay, and then you have to get more people in. You have to, you can't care. You have to go out there and look like a fool. You have to advertise. You have to bust your ass, grinding and advertising. And if something doesn't work, try something else, right? If you're not getting messages, guess what? Now you know that whatever you're doing now is not working. Do something else, right? And do it until you fail your way into success. Fail so many times that until you come across an opportunity until you come across an opportunity. Not opportunity, a method, a technique that works, right? Because guess what? You only need to be right once. You only need to find something once to get going. Because once you get going, it's very hard for you to be stopped. Once you have money coming in, you have thousands, you're getting, right now we're getting 4 or 5K a week. Once you have that type of money, guess what? It's going to be hard for you to get stopped. Why? Because now you have access to go and take a trip. Right now you have access to go to Vegas and rent a nice car and have a blast in a week, a blast in a weekend, and then record everything and make videos, make proof videos. Now if you have big weeks, guess what? Now every Friday you can come up and say, hey, today is Friday. Today I got paid. Here's the cash. Boom. Message me for information. Boom.
What? So that back office
only need to be right once. Once you get that, once you find your method, you're good to go. And we have a method for you now. It's just up to you if you want to invest in yourself.
Yeah, straight up.
No, but guys, before I leave, I'll go ahead and give the stage back to CJ so we can end this. And once again, guys, thanks for tuning in.
All right. Yeah, so I'm going to just present to everybody. So I'm just going to show my screen again. So the screen that you guys are looking at right now, there's 2 buttons. That's basically us showing you how we do it. That's the only thing we could do. We don't have a method that says you're guaranteed for success if you just click this button. No, what we're saying is this is what we're doing. We're seeing success doing it, and you could do it too. To get MCA Pro Tools, you click the red button. To get the 6-figure formula, you get the blue button. Now, hold on 1 second. I think that it's showing him. My bad, guys. All right, so yeah, click the red button to get Pro Tools, click the blue button to get the 6-figure formula. Now, I will tell you guys that these are made to go together, okay? Like we made this to the point where, okay, obviously if we're showing you how to get leads on autopilot and, to the point where we're getting so many leads that we have to use an autoresponder. Well, what about the follow-ups? That's where, we send them our Pro Tools link, and that basically presents the sale for us. And then our follow-ups, we're not going to have time for follow-ups if we're getting so many leads, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying, but the fortune is in the follow-up, right? So that's where following up, being automated, is also coming into play. So now it's like at this point, we have so much more free time to actually enjoy our lives, guys. We could actually, I don't know if you guys heard it. Let me get back off the screen here. I don't know if you guys heard it, but my daughter just came running out here, and Candace had to come grab her because she knows I'm doing this hangout. Like, we have so much time to spend with our family. Actually, in a couple weeks, I'm gonna fly out. Me and Candace are gonna fly her family out to Cali, and we're just gonna enjoy life, because we can. And honestly, it's all thanks to God, but it's also thanks to God for just basically helping me stumble upon this opportunity in MCA, and also to be able to make it automated. Because, back in the day when we had our old methods and when we were still working our way up to deserving it, we were constantly working, guys. I'm talking like working so much to the point where it was hard to even enjoy making money, because if you take a break, you're missing out on money, and that's fine. But like, it feels good to reap the benefits and really make your money work for you. So that's all I'm trying to say. If you really want to get to the next level, we're teaching you how to make your money work for you, So with that said, guys, I want to thank you for tuning into this hangout. It shows us, me, Gerardo, Javier, that you guys are serious about this business. We like to spend our time on people with like minds like us, showing us that you're serious. We love to spend time and help out. So please tune in on all the hangouts every Monday. We're going to be releasing email blasts to you guys. Always be looking to improve the training, and we'll see you guys throughout the week. Any words you want to say, bro?
Nope, that's it, guys. See y'all next week.
All right.